This was the one that fucked up the AI. I think, I mean, I've been drinking too much, so I don't even remember exactly what update was this. But I remember I was complaining literally on day one of the update, and people in the chat were like, I'm like harsh too soon. You're negative, Mr. Streamer. Elic. Not sure if Markonos was serious about it, but Markonos was one of them as well. It literally was noticeable from the start. That was day one, and day two is literally just like the blind could only see how bad it was. Like when people play game, nobody's paying attention. There you go. This is the one. This is where it all went to shit. This is the one. This is where it all went to shit. I love it when they call it fixes or improvements, when it just changes. Will there be better? Who knows? They don't really play the game that much to decide that for the player base that actually plays the game. Or plays more than 60 turns. We are making some sweeping changes to the AI in Warhammer 3 in our continued effort to make them more engaging to play against. That was the patch 4.0, boys, where Warhammer 3 AI went to shit. But in just one campaign, you can see stuff like this, and this is happening for over a dozen turns. Stuff like this happening for 30 turns, and they do barely a move, going back and forth for 15 turns to turn 60, do next to nothing. This AI improvements, where it all went to shit in Warhammer 3. And this has been released August 30th, 2023. People have, even the peasants have started noticing how bad it is months ago. We were literally noticing issues on day one. On day two, it was clear they fucked it up. But not only they fucked up the campaign AI, they fucked up the battle AI, which was somewhat fixed over time. But let's read this again. With all the AFK back and forth, literally hopeless AI beyond the early start of the game, they say this: we are making some sweeping changes to the AI in Warhammer in our continued efforts to make them more engaging to play against. What's engaging about 7 armies AFKing for 20 plus turns? Or Ungrim Iron Fist at war with one enemy and nobody even nearby, and he's AFK in a settlement for over 20 turns. What's engaging about that? They're so clueless they haven't played any of the campaigns. This includes decreasing their bias against the player and making them more effective in the right places, while also increasing the likelihood of mistakes being made that can be capitalized upon, rewarding the quick thinking generals among you. There's quite a bit to go through, so deep breaths. This is where it all went bad. They tried to do some change, but they messed things up. Distance is now more important to the AI when engaging with diplomacy. This should mean the AI has fewer dealings with factions that are further away. The AI is less likely to declare war when it's in a bad situation due to the number of war declarations from factions that are in trouble. Some of these things are in the game, but something even worse got created. Player focus to 0 and AFK to very high. But the back and forth that most people don't notice unless they pay attention is the worst offender, which trivializes any difficulty beyond the very early start. When the AI is considering a peace deal, the impact of casualties on its decision making has been doubled. So from 1.7 to 3.4. Meanwhile, there's another factor there with minus 80. Meaning that the AI should offer peace deals more often if it has received significant recent losses. Okay. Passive factions, like the ones which live in the Wood Elf Forest, are now less likely to go to war. I think we have found the offender, boys. What if they apply this to most factions? And now that everybody is less likely to go to war, and everybody just AFKs more. This would explain everything. This would explain everything if this was literally applied on the entire game. Fixed an issue affecting AI view on enemy strength. The effects of diplomatic events will now subside twice as fast. Battles in hostile territory and hero actions now have small impact diplomacy. Increase the number of diplomatic goals each AI faction can generate per turn from 1 to 3 and made it clear that to understand the AI's attitude toward each other's faction. AI to AI diplomatic contact has been reworked, meaning AI factions should be more capable of discovering each other. The actions of an AI toward a faction will now have less impact on other factions who also has a hostile stance. This will make pylons less likely. Because yes, we need I mean, this is just a bunch of fairy tales here. Some of this might work, some of this might not work, some of this just like they're smoking the pipe. But you know, some of this sound good, right? And some of these, you know, just make it clear how they messed up the difficulty, the aggression, and everything. Well, the Warhammer 3 was all the passive as it is. But lately they've been trying to fix it, but the problem is it's pointless until they fix the passive AI. AI is more likely to confederate minor factions on harder Mortal Empire difficulties. Increase the number of deals AI can check per turn. The AI now receives a little more time to think about diplomacy, but at the cost of end turn performance. Oh no, 2 more seconds to end turns. That's like the worst. I'd take another 20 seconds if the AI was better. Each war increases the negative impact on the AI faction situation much more than before. It will strive to be in a few battles overall. It will now take the AI long to identify which faction is its main trait. Okay. The AI is more likely to carry out offensive tasks within its current active target region. Each AI is designed with a defined set of regions it would like to take and or hold per campaign. Increase the chances of it operating in regions it doesn't currently own. AKA zone of operation, AKA dog shit, AKA messing up the difficulty and the challenge of the game. Limit their expansion. Combine that with the back and forth and passive behavior, and this is what this caused this broken AI. We had 10 examples where literally in one of them things were fine. In 3 were acceptable, although far from fine. And 6, in those 6, over half the turns wasted. And in one of them was a dumpster fire of epic proportions, like unseen of. It's like they had resources, they had armies, but dripping to the maximum because of the behavior. But remember guys, AI was always this bad, and we don't have experience for playing the game for over 10,000 hours. Reduce the amount of time that AI factions will consider territory to be recently captured. The AI is less likely to focus on these regions. As in, you know, Karakadrin had been raised in the Vlad's campaign and been ruined for over 50 turns. Nobody's touching it. While Karakadrin was still on the map. The faction. Increase the inaccuracy of the AI calculation of movement, meaning mistakes will be more common at some difficulties. Okay, I can say for this one. AI will not retreat forces with 4 or fewer units on any difficulty. That's an excellent change. That was one of the best things they've done with this update. AI is more willing to defend its last settlement, even if such an action is suicidal. AI should stand their ground more often instead of escaping, trying to survive. Well, I've barely noticed this. This should probably be increased even further. Because I see settlements with garrison and an army fleeing from a stronger army. They don't take into account both forces for that conflict. When it comes to AI versus AI interaction. For the player, it's a little bit more often. Rework of the AI defense behavior. Instead of focusing more on regions with enemy forces inside, more emphasis now on regions with bordering enemy factions and directly dealing with enemies. Oh man, I want what they're smoking. Distance scaling has been increased. AI should focus on nearby targets more. Increased number of units needed for the AI to consider releasing a force for offensive actions. AI should build bigger forces for offensive actions and then understand armies to own territory. Holy shit, a lot of these things are just things that might not even do anything in the game and might interact with just making AI more passive, while there is AI is trying to do something that they can't and they just sit there instead. This has been happening over a year, boys. Over a year. We have seen hundreds of examples by now. Increased number of units in existing forces needed before the AI will consider building a new army. AI will only add new armies if it has more units in existing forces. That's like, sounds all great stuff. Fix the bug where the AI would incorrectly evaluate assaulting a settlement with a very weak garrison as worthless. AI evaluates primarily by how much enemy strength can be destroyed, not by the value of settlement. One of the main issues in the game is needless besieging, where they besiege a small force and they just siege every turn. Turns go by and they're still there. But the worst offender is when they don't besiege or don't attack a settlement or besiege a settlement with a highly diminished garrison and they just wait there. And just wait there, sometimes for way too many turns. AI views the strength of siege equipment with much lower. AI will attack major settlements more quickly. Significantly increased priority for the AI to go after factions last settlement. AI should finish off factions more often. 97 turns yesterday. 97 turns. That's the dumpster fire that happened. There's never been this bad. AI views garrisoning settlements as much stronger. AI will less often retreat from a settlement if it thinks it can defend it, even with a garrison. Another potential for the AFK, where they don't know and they don't do anything else. Improve the AI logic out of which regions to recruit units. Boys who have been here and watching the vanilla stuff, where we have vanilla right now, you can still have fun. Let's read this again. We are making some sweeping changes to the AI in Warhammer 3 in our continuing efforts to make them more engaging to play against. August 30, 2023. As is, I counted those 7 hotfixes later, so that's literally over a year ago. This stuff, the AI was already passive enough, and this patch, this is the patch we're talking about, the infamous patch 4.0 that messed up things. And it has still not been patched. If you guys want to enjoy Warhammer 3 again, with a working AI, this mod has a ridiculous name. Just ignore it. This mod will fix the AI. You just subscribe. You go to your launcher, mods, play with mods, play, and game fixed for most part. The needless besieging and randomization with occupation loot sec raise is still there. These things need to be tuned, but the AI aggressiveness and AFK back and forth is over 95% fixed. The CA has not heard the Reddit cry enough, and they have done nothing about it. They are increasing difficulty in the game, but they are not fixing the passive AI. What they are doing, they are increasing the difficulty of Legendary in the very initial part of the game, where the AI has things to do. I estimate it will know what to do in the first 18 to 25 turns for most parts of the world, before it will start derping with back and forth and eventual AFK. Maybe 1 to 4 campaigns, 1 to 4 in 10 campaigns, you will actually get a good experience, but it will still be too passive. And 6 out of 10, so it's a small sample of 10. It's just like awful to watch, and it should never happen in Legendary. Never. The problem with Creative Assembly, they are literally tuning the difficulty, as in they make one AI for everything, with small adjustments, not the real stuff, and then they are difficulty just adds more or less bonuses in combat and campaign. In combat, more stats; in the campaign, upkeep costs, recruitment costs, unit costs, basically replenishment bonus, growth, stuff like this. It's the same AI, just screwed. Anyways, this is the problem in detail, and if you guys wanna fix it and enjoy Warhammer 3 again, get this mod. You just click, and you play. If the rogue armies are bothering you, we have a version that puts the rogue armies to a regular spawn point.